There's Mark Anthony. We're Magic, and it's 8:36. It's a Tuesday morning, and every Tuesday morning at this time, we check with Mike Barrett from Barrett Insurance Agency. And he's joining us remotely again this morning. Mike, good morning. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, Jeff. How are you?
Doing all right. We always have some great talks, and you've helped myself and a whole bunch of our listeners understand the ins and outs of the insurance industry, because some of us don't do it every day, and it seems pretty complex. We appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure. That's what I do.
And your family has had Barrett Insurance Agency now into its second generation. We've talked about everything from auto policies, homeowners insurance, renters insurance, and the list goes on. But we had a recent round of storms here, and as summer comes in, these tend to happen off and on throughout the listening area. And we were talking with Mark Breen earlier this morning. There was a lot of power outages in Lunenburg, which is over close to where you guys live. We got just under 2 3/4 inches of rain. They had some very strong winds, and even St. Johnsbury got 1.5 inches of rain in just a couple hours yesterday. Why don't we talk about storm damage in insurance? What do you think?
I think that's a good idea. And full disclosure, I am out of town. I'm in Outer Banks, North Carolina on vacation. It's an annual family vacation with my wife's family. So to take a moment to break away and do this actually makes me quite happy. No, I'm just kidding. But I did hear back from the reports of the storms, and it was a mixed bag. You know, some people got just the heavy rain, some got hail, some got some close lightning strikes. So let's talk about when you have an inundation of water first, because that was the real big culprit last night, is you get an onslaught of water that's just uncontrollable, nowhere to go. The normal drainage is not going to keep up. So where's it going to go? To the weakest point. If that weakest point is your basement, you're not going to have coverage, because that is groundwater seepage, which is excluded. Now, let's back it up a little bit, and let's say you have a known leaky basement, so you are prepared for it, and you have a sump pump or some kind of a water mitigation system. And let's say that fails. Well, if you have backup of sewers and drains, which is not automatic coverage on your homeowner policy, you can have coverage for it. It's going to be a limit that you chose, whether it be 5, 10,000 or more. So that's going to help you out. Now, that's something to think about for sure, but generally, groundwater seepage is not going to be covered. If anything, it would be triggered by a flood insurance policy, and that's a whole other bag of marbles to discuss. Maybe we'll do that at another time, but the triggers have to specifically be there, plus you have to have the flood policy in place.
Well,
so let's talk about, go ahead.
Mike, if I could just jump in here real quick. I know we can save this for another day, but give us one of the determining factors between flood damage versus seepage. Just one, okay? So we can save the rest for another day.
Sure. So it depends on the flood trigger. So you're going to have an inundation of water that impacts multiple acreage or multiple neighbors. That's going to be, and you're really going to have to, it depends on the type of flood policy you have. If you have a FEMA flood policy through the National Flood Insurance Program, there's a very specific amount of land that has to have been inundated and impacted for that to even be a flood loss. The private flood insurance companies, flood is flood is flood, and they have a much broader definition, so you may have a better luck getting coverage there. But that's really the crux of it there. Otherwise, it's going to be a backup of sewers and drain scenario just for failure for the water to mitigate. So it's important to know that that's a possibility. You know, and then if you have vehicles parked in your parking lot that are struck by trees that got struck by lightning, remember, it's always going to come off an auto policy, not a homeowner policy. Same with lightning. If lightning strikes near your house, takes out your vehicle, it's going to be an auto policy, not your homeowner policy, that will cover that. So just some basic 101s to keep in mind as you're hopefully making it through the damage from last night. Okay.
Well, we did mention that final topic that you talked about there last week, the difference between, comprehensive and auto and so on and such forth. So we appreciate you taking the time out on your vacation, Mike. This was a short, sweet. We'll get more into it next week when you get back home. But for those listeners that would like to get in touch with you to update their homeowners policy, how can they get in touch with you?
Sure. You can just call us 748-5224. Visit us on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury. Online to BarrettAgency.com, Google, Facebook, and YouTube. Just look for Barrett Insurance Agency.
All right, and always join us on a Tuesday morning at this time. Hope you have a great day. Good luck on the golf course. Be safe, and we'll see you soon, okay?
Those who need luck are those that are standing unknowingly that I'm golfing here today. Those are the ones that need luck.
So, all right, Mike.
Thank you, Jeff.
God bless, my friend. See you soon.
See you later.
Good Policies with Magic in the Morning. The number again, 748-5224. Barrett Insurance. Back to the music on Magic.